Good morning and welcome for another tip for the ride. It's been a while since I've visited with you and it's a beautiful morning here in Eastern Oregon, and we'd like to share another little ground exercise with you that's been working really well for us over the course of this winter. Have my friend Savio helping me today, and we'll see how this goes in our outdoor environment here. So what you'll need for today's tip for the ride to kind of help you out, some ideas of 1, what are our goals, 2, why we choose the exercises we are choosing, and 3, some of the equipment that will help you to visualize what those exercises are. So let's get started with that. First, my goal today is to look at suppling my horse, warming him up so that I can prepare him to do these same exercises under saddle, as well as looking towards a little more complicated moves, or I should say not so much complicated but more gathered, more collected, more engaged type moves. Ultimately, we're working with the biomechanics of the horse to begin to lengthen, stretch, supple, flex, and create a horse that is ready for us to get up on board. Some of the things that you'll need today that at least will help you visualize are about 6 to 8 lengths of PVC pipe. I use the ones that are about an inch around, so they're not real big, and about a 10-foot to 12-foot length will work out really well for you. The other thing you'll see here in our diagram is that I've put a nice hula hoop right in the middle to give us kind of that picture of where the center of the circle is. What we're going to do is set these up so that they're on a little bit more of what I'm going to call a stop sign. I understand stop signs don't have quite as many points as what we have here behind us, but I've used 6 lengths of PVC pipe and put my hula hoop in the middle so that those are out about 5 paces, so probably somewhere around about 3 meters from the center. So let's get started with those exercises and what we're actually going to be looking for. The first thing that I'm looking for is to see if I can just ask my horse to stretch over his top line a little bit, and I'm going to take him around the maybe if he stays with me, I'm going to take him around the stop sign here, and using the points of the stop sign to give me an opportunity to do just a little bit of a half halt. Now, I think half halt is one of those mysterious words often used in dressage, and really what I'm looking for here is just a momentary little breath where we don't quite come to a stop, but we check in with each other. Are we connected? Are we listening to one another as we go around? This is where the stop sign helps me a little bit, because as I come to the point here, I take a little deep breath, turn, wait, and then go. You've seen this before in our Liberty work, and now I'm just using it a little bit more in my warm-up. I'm asking him as we go around to slightly displace those hindquarters a bit to the outside, begin to stretch over that top line, and to begin to lengthen the outside of his neck muscles here just a little bit and contract a bit the inside. You'll notice that I have very light contact here on the rein. Actually, I could easily do this without any reins, but where we're moving towards the demonstration here today, we'll have a little bit of contact that we'll put in a minute, and we'll go from there. One of the things we've been discussing a lot about in our horse study course is really the purpose of these long and low type exercises, and how far do we go in asking the horse to stretch his neck and head downwards. Well, I think the answer to that is really the horse is going to tell you where his natural place to be able to stretch is. And as we go along further, he may want to stretch farther, and the breed also may greatly impact how far the horse really wants to stretch down. My Tilly horse that you've seen in other videos, the brown quarter horse, definitely stretches down further than Savio as a little Hispano-Arab with that Iberian blood. Now that's feeling pretty good to me. He's got a nice stretch. He certainly has a good attitude. I'm going to see if I come to a halt here, if he could come to a halt. And notice I've just changed my whip to give him a little something to balance upon. I'm not using the whip to stop him, but just coming from this posture here where it's inside my hand and really helping, if I needed to just encourage a forward motion a little bit to as if it were a sword in my hand, and I've just got it here to just balance. He balances a bit on it. Now let's just change this up a little bit. We've pretty much been just asking him to go around this stop sign kind of in a nice forward big circle with little half halts at each point. Let's see how this might change if now I ask him to go around a bit more sideways. A word for it might be a little bit of a shoulder in towards the hula hoop. In this case, his right front foot is going to come in a little bit more off of his railroad track. The hindquarters will go a little bit to the outside of the stop sign here. Now, as I do this, I'm going to kind of change how I present my reins to him a little bit. Previously, as you can see, there were really not any feel in those reins. Now I'm going to see if I can build my rein triangle, which we've talked about before in my work in hand videos, and ask him to have just a little suggestion, a little feel, a little balance towards that outside rein. In this case, that's going to be his left rein. So here we go. I'll build that triangle. Pull down a little bit here till I have a straight line on that outside left rein. I'll stay here right at the bit, but very, very loose in my right hand. And I'll pick up a little bit here in the other rein to give a little feel on that outside rein. Now as we go forward and sideways here, I want to see if my whip, if it's used at all, is just used to say, let's still go forward and a little bit away from it. And I'm going to ask for just a little more energy from him to pick those shoulders now up and go around sideways. As we come to the points again, we'll take a half halt. He aligns and balances up, and then I walk that nice straight line on my stop sign. Deep breath, half halt, wait for the balance. Now catch his energy and go on with it. I'm always imagining how I can ride this. If I were up and board, my balance would stay slightly to the left because I want to free up the right side of his body. And I would see in my mind's eye that movement. Right hind, ask for a little more energy. No piaffe. Right hind, left four, right hind, left four, right hind, left four. Notice that there's very little bend in the neck here. This is really no different than what I've shown you before in the work in hand. I'm just using the shape of the stop sign to be able to help me a little bit with my half halts, my geometry, so that when I get on board, I can ride this flawlessly, and my horse already knows what I'm going about to ask him. I'll halt here with a slight shoulder in and wait for it. If he doesn't get it, I'll bring my whip there again and ask him to just wait for a balance. I'm always trying to come to that spot where I can seek balance and equilibrium with my horse. Very good. Excellent. So that was a shoulder in using the stop sign pattern, having little half halts at each point, little deep breaths, little wait, balance, go. Wait, balance, go. Kind of a feel in things. I wonder if I could change this now where I would still be riding those same 2 feet, his left hind to his right fore, but I could put his bottom towards the inside and his shoulders towards the outside. So in essence, we'd be doing a reverse bend around this stop sign here. Let's see if I could try that same kind of a movement. Now changing the positioning where instead of his nose being in, his nose is to the outside of the circle. Bring him here. Now we ride the same 2 feet. Right hind, left fore, right hind, left fore, right hind, left fore, right hind. Ask for that a little more. Right hind, left fore, right hind, left fore. Very good. His nose is still and is slightly tipped towards me. His energy is being carried into that outside rein. He's trying to do a few fancy things for us because we've been starting to work on Spanish walk, and he does know piaffe in this form too. Good. Very nice. We'll come to a halt and we'll wait. Good. A reverse bend on my stop sign, still using little half halts at each point. Again, envisioning that I were riding, my back would be to the hula hoop. He's still carrying his energy in the same pattern that he was before in the shoulder in. It's just simply that his bottom is to the inside and his shoulders are to the outside. Now let's set that up using the same 2 feet. I'm riding his right hind to his left fore. Now let's change the bend a little bit and put him in that haunches in on the circle. Not a piaffe. I'll ask him to step into that bend. Very nice. Change it back. Allow him to come out. And for kicks and grins, we'll go back to our shoulder in this way. Always still riding the same 2 feet. Right hind, left fore. Wait for that. Wait for the balance. Right hind, left fore. Now watch this. What if I change the bend on my shoulder in? Still riding, right hind to left fore, right hind, left fore. Change the bend and ask him to step into that bend now. Right hind, left fore, not a piaffe yet. He's doing nice, working on his piaffe. We'll wait for him to get the movement that I'm asking for to take that tail a little bit more away from me. I like his enthusiasm. We're just communicating here on him to understand. I want him to step away rather than just the piaffe. Step into the bend. There we go. Good. Half halt. Wait for him. Not quite. Step into the bend. There we go. Good. And I'll let him go on forward since he's trying very hard to say, do you want a piaffe there, Alice? Or what is it that you would like from me? As is so often the case, I get a better picture if I ride my two-legged horse before I try to apply it to my actual four-legged horse friend. So let's review those movements that we are about to do with the stop sign to help us with our geometry, and also working towards that wonderful flow, suppling, and beautiful lightness that we're after in all of our horses. Let's see, the first thing we did was just some nice long and low stretches. So you might try this as well because it'll feel really great on you. Again, here we're on the outside of the stop sign, shoulders nice and relaxed and long. We come to the point, we wait, we pick up the new line. As we come here, we wait for the horse to step a little under to balance up, and then we go on the new line. As we come to the point here, we wait for the horse to step under, balance up, and then we're off on the new line. Nice, long, low, and not forcing it, but rather just helping the horse to feel that stretch over the top line through the shoulders and a little displacement. The next thing we did was to pick the horse up a little bit more, come into a little bit more of self-carriage, put a bit of a contact or a feel on that outside rein, and we began to carry that into a lateral movement called a shoulder in. The shoulders slightly in towards the hula hoop, the hind end slightly off the track, carrying that kind of in a sideways feel around the stop sign. Let's see how that works on my two-legged horse. Better posture now, shoulders up and back, elbows heavy, riding forward, picking up my shoulder in, bringing this shoulder towards the hula hoop, carrying that energy from my inside hip to my outside rein. And I like to practice always holding my shoulders, my hands, my posture, the same way I will be on board while I practice here on my two-legged horse. Left hip, right shoulder, left hip, right shoulder, left hip, right shoulder. You'll notice that there's more of just a flow here. I'm not having to do too much of a half halt. It's almost imperceptible. Just a little squeeze, maybe in that outside rein. Shoulder in on the circle, or as we have it, the stop sign. Now what happens when we do that same posturing, but we turn our back to the hula hoop? Let's see what that would look like. I'm still going to ride those same 2 feet. Actually, I should have started over here so that it won't be confusing for anybody. I was riding my left to my right. Can I do that with the same bend here, looking slightly to the left, carrying my energy left to right, but keeping the eye in the middle of my back towards the hula hoop? Here I go, left hind, right 4, left hind, right 4, left hind, right 4, left hind, right 4. Notice that my shoulders are still leading a little bit in this. They're not getting behind. They're not pulling back. They're staying almost ahead of the movement. Left hind, right 4. Left hind, right 4. Haunches in towards the center. What happens if we change that slightly? In that reverse bend, haunches were here. What if we change the bend? Still riding, left hind, right 4, left hind, right 4. Haunches are in, bend is into the bend, a travers on a circle. Excellent. We only have one more move then to try, and that would be to take from the shoulder in and change the bend a little bit. To move it towards a renvers on the circle. Ron with an R. Here we go. We're going to set it up. Little shoulder in. Left hind, right 4. Left hind, right 4. Now change my bend. Left hind, right 4. Left hind, right 4. The bottom of my horse is making a bigger circle than the front end. And I've changed the stretch in the rib cage here to contraction over here. Very nice. Don't forget, you have such a great opportunity to feel rhythm, timing, flow by using your two-legged horse. I hope this helps you to give you a new picture with your geometry. We've been finding great success in the use of the stop sign kind of scenario here on the ground. Gives us a visual, and it also gives you those points where you take that deep breath, that moment of let's get together, now let's go on together. Let's balance up, let's go forward. Give me a half halt, let's go on. It's a slight little suggestion that you come together, that you're both listening to one another. That opportunity here, combined with the suppling and the use of a little bit of contact in your working hand on the stop sign, I think you'll find great success, and it's also a whole lot of fun. Stay tuned for the next video, where we'll take this up on board and show exactly how all of the hard work you've done here on the ground is going to transfer right up into the saddle. Till I see you again, hope you join us here in Eastern Oregon. This is Alice Trindle. Thanks for watching Tip for the Ride.